Everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Burning Conversations. My name is Anastasia Douglas, and I am your podcast anchor. And for those of you who might not know, Burning Conversations is where we get to know the people around campus and along with what might be going on here on campus as well. And today we have a very special guest. For those of you who truly might not know, on February 15th, NSU held a dedication and honoring ceremony for our very own former head basketball coach, Mike McConathy. The court now in Prather is actually named after him. It is named Mike McConathy Court. And our very special guest today is none other than the man himself, our former head basketball coach, Mike McConathy. Thank you so much for joining us today, Coach. Thank you so much. Look, I want to ask you, so how did you get introduced to the game of basketball? How did that come to be?
Well, my father actually played here, and his two brothers played here in the 40s and 50s. And my dad was a high school basketball coach before moving into administration. And so I grew up around the game. I got locked in the ballroom one time when he was coaching at Bossier High School. Nobody could find me, and I was locked in the ballroom where they just put the balls in. And I can remember that vividly when I was like 6 or 7, and went to a gym recently at Dorleen High School, one of our schools in Webster Parish, and I ran out on the court when I was about 2 years old there. So I was just kind of from birth, I guess, around the game of basketball. And then I would see my dad play because they had church leagues and stuff like that. He would continue to play. My dad was was drafted in the first round, 5th pick of the NBA draft from Northwestern State University in 1951. He was a young man that came here at 6'1", weighed 155, grew 4 inches, didn't have a scholarship, walked on, and ended up being an All-American his senior year, and had a nice career here at Northwestern, and then went and played for about 6 months before he was called up to the Korean conflict at that time because he was in the National Guard, and he was sent to OCS for training to go to the war, but it ended. But he never returned. He just got into coaching and used his education degree that he had from Northwestern State University.
So how did you feel coaching your first game here at NSU?
It was very special. To say the least. It's an opportunity. I'd coached at Bossier Parish Community College for 16 years, had no gym, no dorms, no food service. So coming to Northwestern where you had a coliseum, you had food service, you had dorms was a great thing. One of my players came with me here. He really helped me a lot. And then I had great players here already as far as wonderful young men. One of them asked me the question, and I'm kind of getting away from your question, but I'll come back to it to kind of drive the point home. He said, "Coach, what are you going to do with us?" When I visited that day with them trying to get the job. And I said, "Well, you evidently signed a scholarship here to Northwestern, and you wanted to be at Northwestern. And as long as you take care of your academics and you do the things that you're supposed to be doing, you'll be here." That young man graduated. We only lost one young man in the transition there period because some academic struggles. But so when I got the opportunity to coach here, moving from that spring to when the season began, it was just a really special thing. We played Louisiana College here. We'd been on the road to Wyoming and to Kansas State, some of those guarantee games that we play. So getting to come home and play that game and get a win here in Prather was very, very special, and I do remember it very much.
So I read that you took Northwestern to 3 NCAA tournaments. Now, what were your key stepping stones in doing that?
Well, the first thing is J.D. Barnett was a coach before I got here, and J.D. Barnett was a very, very good basketball coach. And we were able to take the toughness and the high character kids that he had in place and add some pieces to that. Josh Hancock, Gerald McCray, Ryan Duplessis. We bring in Chris Thompson, Mike Byers, Chris Lynch, Melvin Roberts, those young men. Josh Hancock was here, who was just a special fire plug or spark plug of a player, high character, with Brent Shropshire and Richard Taylor. Those kids all kind of bonded together. And the first year we were able to get to the championship game of the Southland Conference and lost to Lamar by 7 points up in Shreveport at the Gold Dome. And then the next year we came and we put that team together, and we just got better and better and better, and just had a wonderful team. And one of the things that's really interesting about that team was we had a really bad loss at Arkansas by many points. We got beat handily. And that team rebounded from that to end up beating McNeese, who was the league champion with like a 15-1 record. Mm-hmm. And I remember this vividly. We played McNeese on the Saturday. Mm-hmm. They won the league championship that day. Okay. They cut the nets down. I made my players sit and watch them cut the nets down for that championship game. From that game, we moved in the tournament. We won our first game on the road. I believe it was at Nichols. The next year, the next game, we played UT San Antonio in Shreveport, won that game, and then we played McNeese in the championship game, and then we had the chance to cut the nets down. So it was really, really special to be able to do that. And that was the building blocks to get things started. And from there, we were able to move forward. And anytime you're at a institution size school like Northwestern State, there's so many positive things about Northwestern State, you're going to be up and down. And it took many years for us to get back in the position in 2-5, 2-6. We won the league championship in 2-4, 2-5, lost the championship game in Prather Coliseum because at that time they played home sites. The year before, our ladies had won 3 games in a row at Prather with coach under the helm of Coach James Smith. So for 3 straight years, we had March Madness in Prather playing 3 games each year of championship basketball there. And by doing that, it really created a lot of excitement. And then that year we went on 2-5, 2-6 to win against Iowa in the NCAA tournament on Jermaine Wallace's 3-pointer. So that was a great thing. But interesting thing, if Luke Rogers wouldn't have rebounded a missed shot on the other end, we wouldn't have been able to get Jermaine the opportunity to get the rebound off of a Kerwin Forger-Smith shot. So that, and then 2013, we were fortunate enough to win the championship against Stephen F. Austin with behind a really solid team as well. And so that was a great thing. Going back to that 2-5, 2-6 team in the Iowa game, Clifton Lee made three or four big shots during that second half run. We were down 17 points to come back to win that game with like 7 minutes to go in the game and won the game. And that was kind of indicative of that team. We would have runs, but a lot of great players on that team, Tyrone Mitchell, Keenan Jones, Jermaine Spencer, Byron Allen. Those guys were just really, really instrumental in everything that we did there, and it was just, we had a great staff, we had a great support system as far as in the community and at the university, and it was just a lot of fun.
Now, I hear, Coach, you don't play because nearly 90% of your seniors actually graduated, and so I know that means academics is important to you along with the game. So how were you able to keep them motivated?
Well, one of the things is that, in recruiting, this was something that I'm reminded of. It wasn't about 1 year. It wasn't about 2 years if you were a JUCO player. It wasn't about 3 years. It wasn't about 4 years of being at Northwestern. It's about a lifetime. And we always talked to our players. Coach Dave Simmons was with me a long time. Later on, Coach Jeff Moore, Mark Schlesinger were coaches with me there in those full-time spots. But we really talked to them about academics and how important it was for them to get a degree, because the degree would put them in a position to do something that they wanted to do rather than being forced to take a job just to take a job. And so we're able to paint a pretty good picture of that. And And I think it goes back, and this is interesting. This morning I got a text from one of my players that stayed, graduated from here, and then he left once he graduated the portal transfer stuff. It started several years ago. And he was just really appreciative of the fact that he'd been here at Northwestern. He'd been here and he'd gotten a degree and he was able to go on. And that's means so much today, because when you're coaching, you're pushing, and you're just hoping that young men are getting the information that you're trying to give them.
So you had such an amazing coaching career. You were pretty much our most winning coach that we've ever had. But what led you to finally say, it's time to call it quits and retire?
Well, I coached 39 years in college, and I had 44.8 years overall. I coached high school. My first job was a girls' job at Airline High School, and then I was at Bossier High School, and then I was at Bossier Parish Community College for actually coached there 3 years, but 1 year I was the BIPSI coach, or Bossier Parish Community College, and the Bossier High School coach, and taught 5 classes, PE classes. I was in the gym at that time, and my wife was right there with me, and it was time to not continue on, because I don't think that the game had gotten away. I don't think the players, I've related well with the players. I think that just maybe the light was still burning, but the flame was a little bit lower. How does that sound?
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
But it's been good, and I'll be honest, it's been a little bit of an adjustment being away from the game. When I go to the games here and watch the ladies and the men play, I sit way off, don't generally sit with anybody, because so many times in life you can say something and it can be taken out of context. And so it's just best. I'm not being non-sociable. It's just that I've learned that that's what I did when my kids played in elementary school and junior high. I would sit way away, and people say, well, you're not going to be sociable? I said, well, it's just best if I stay away, because I don't want something to be a reaction that could be used negatively. And that happens so many times in life. And unfortunately, in our world today, anything you say can be twisted to where you're a bad guy. So I've just learned to stay away from folks.
So let's take ourselves back to just a few days ago, not too long ago. Your dedication honoring ceremony, the court now in Prather is named Mike McConathy Court, and I know you had your family, former players, assistants, and then the best one of all, I think, was so adorable that they had cardboard cutouts of your face around. What, having that dedication and honoring ceremony, what did that mean to you?
I'm not big on promotion for myself, but it was great from this perspective, because I was able to recognize people that were a part of the journey all the way back from when I first started. Had numerous players here from when I was at Bossier Parish Community College, numerous players here from Northwestern, graduate assistants who came in here and helped us, trainers that were helpful through their graduate assistant program, through the late Ed Evans, who was our trainer for many years here at Northwestern, and Jason Drury. So getting all those people together, all my family was there. Had a cousin, Tom McConathy, there. I had my only I have 2 living aunts. One didn't get to come because of weather, but the other one drove from Houma with her son, Ken Jones. Diane Jones came up, and having her there was very, very moving to have them as a part of that. And being able to stand out there amongst them in front of all of our fans, talk about the people at the table, talk about the different people that handle facilities, because all of us have a part in any situation, and they were a part of that. And I try to get that message across, because you can't do something by yourself. And Coach James Smith was here, and he had spoken at a thing for Doug Ireland that morning, and he was a women's coach when I got here, and they had a great women's program, and I was able to learn so much from him. And him and his wife Susan being there was very special, along with the different coaches that could come back. But the issue for me is there was never going to be a good time to do it, because we did some research, and we have over 100 people that went through our program that are either working as trainers, assistant coaches, head coaches, still playing, still involved in the game of basketball. So there was a lot of them that could not come back. And then the other thing is because of the fact that just the jobs they have didn't allow them to come back. But being able to be there and see them and see those teammates engaging, and seeing the fans that were so helpful to me. And prior to the ceremony, we had a tribute lunch, and John Evans and Lane Miller and others helped prepare that meal. Jill Bankston did a remarkable job with her group at the foundation putting that together. But they were able to have a meal. We ate. I mingled around. Didn't get to spend near the time I'd like to spend with so many people. But it was just a really, really great experience from the time it started until the time it was over. And just thankful for it, and so appreciative of the, you want to say, love that I was shown. That's kind of the way it is. And the cutouts, my hair when I came here was red. But now it's a little bit, can I say it's blonde? It's not blonde, but it's great.
So what can we expect from you now? What will you be doing as far as going on from here?
Well, right now I'm in a situation to where I'm working part-time for the university as an ambassador, and people would say, well, what does that involve? It involves with me going to schools, trying to come up with ways to reconnect us with institutions around here. I'm working out of the whole state, but primarily 10 to 12 to 13 parishes, and we're working on trying to communicate with faculty, communicate with administrations, and trying to get them more interested in our university. And that's what I do. I go around, I go to events, I go to a lot of high school games, and someone might say, well, what does going to a high school game have to do with trying to get students? Well, if you go in a gym, or you go to a baseball field, or you go to a football field, you're going to see people, and they're going to see me wearing purple, and some of them I'll know, some of them I won't know, but there's a chance that they will have name recognition with me because I was here for so long. And institutional knowledge, being around a place, people will identify my face, my name with Northwestern State, and hopefully that can help us to cultivate those relationships that are so important for our university with our institutions in the area.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach, for coming and taking time out of your very busy schedule, I know, for joining us today. Thank you so very much. This will conclude our episode of Burning Conversations. My name is Anastasia Douglas, and tune in very, very soon for a new episode of Burning Conversations coming straight to you guys. Thank you so much.